Hi everybody, we are here at Motorhome Specialist. I'm Ashley Burgess and I'm standing next to Adam Gudger. He's with THOR Motor Coach, and in just a few minutes he's going to walk us through the 2019 THOR Palazzo that I'm very excited about. Thanks for being here.
Ashley, thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm really excited to see this unit. Now, which particular model is this one?
This is the 2019 Palazzo 33.2.
Okay, and the THOR Palazzo comes in a variety of floor plans, correct?
They do. You know, traditionally we've always had 5, but believe it or not, we're actually adding a 6th one this year. So the 33.2s are most popular. It's the smallest, most affordable, and it's really just like a traditional floor plan. So it's nice because up front we have, you know, a nice booth dinette, sofa. We even had enough room for a Euro recliner. We've had a lot of our competitors have decided to research and copy our floor plans instead of do their own. So, but yeah, it's actually stood the test of time. This is actually the first floor plan, believe it or not, that I worked on with THOR back when it was originally debuted back in 2013, and it's stood the test of time. So it's done really well, and really not really many changes to this particular floor plan. It just really makes a lot of sense. And then when we move up to the next, well, it's the same size, a 33.3, where we change a few things around, and you lose the stackable washer dryer, but we add a bunk area to the coach, and that's actually the first Class A motorhome to ever have a front overhead bed and then side bunks, and which is really nice because, you know, you have the sofa that sleeps, you have the overhead that sleeps, and then you have the bunks and then the rear bed. So, you know, you can bring a lot of people with you at an affordable price. And then what I'm probably the most excited about is this new 33.5. So
very cool.
What we did is we actually kept that compact size. One of the nice things about the 33.2, the 33.3, and the 33.5 is they're measuring under 35 feet long, and that's a critical element because a lot of folks like to travel to state national parks, and there's a limitation at 35 feet. So a diesel pusher traditionally never could get down to that kind of length. And so, but one of the frustrations with the 33.3 had been it's the only Palazzo without a stackable washer dryer. Well, you know what? Guess what? With people with bunks, you know, they obviously want to be able to sleep, you know, to do laundry and everything else. And so what we did is we took that 33.3 design and we just adjusted a little bit. Instead of putting a wardrobe at the end of where the bunk beds are, we put a stackable washer dryer in there. And then you're going to tell me, oh, Adam, I like that idea, but you know, I'm losing all that wardrobe space. Well, what we actually did on the other side is we increased that slide out too, and then built a wardrobe where it slides out over the bed. And so we actually increased wardrobe and added a stackable washer dryer to it.
Y'all thought of everything. No, that's awesome.
It's something that's been in my mind, and it's something we just haven't had time to do. So we're really excited. It's going to debut the first one at the Hershey show, and I know Motorhome Specialists will have one of the first ones as well. No, we're really excited. We think it's going to be a big winner for us.
Awesome, very cool.
Yep, and then when you move up into even the longer ones, we have a couple 36 footers. They're both bath and a halves, and you know, a lot of people like having that extra half bathroom, and I know a lot of you folks out there are thinking, well, you know, Adam, I don't want to invest that kind of room in a bathroom, but you know, if you have guests over, if they're staying in the living room, you know, with this nice overhead bed in the front, it's nice to have a second bathroom so the owners have their own space in the back. And so we have 2 different versions. We have the 36.1 where the living space is more towards the front of the unit, and then we have a new 36.3 that has theater seating and a mid TV layout with a fireplace in it. And then another nice thing that we added with the 36.3 is that it has a king bed, which you know, with a king bed, you're going from a 60 by 80 to a 72 by 80. So, you know, if you're a little bit larger, and you know, I'm 6'2", so I like a bigger bed, and you know, you have lots of comfort on either side of the bed, and you have to turn the bed to the side when you go with a king bed, just so there's enough egress around either side.
Right. Well, awesome, lots of floor plans.
Yep, and then one more too, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. And then we have a 37.42, which is actually, believe it or not, the first Palazzo with opposing seating. What I mean by that is, in addition to the dinette, there's a theater seating and a sofa across from it. And then we've added a televator, so the TV that runs up and down. So one of the things that we hear a lot from customers when we're out talking to them is that, you know, when I'm sitting down on the sofa, I'm always having to turn my head to the side, and after a while it starts to bother me a little bit. So we've set up these theater seats now to where it's real directional, true directional seating like you'd have in a residential home. And so by having that TV there, it really makes things nice and comfortable for you.
A little home away from home.
Absolutely.
Literally.
And then, you know, the fireplaces we're throwing into some of these, like the 37.4, another king bed is another feature on that 37.4. So yeah, lots and lots of neat little ideas with the different floor plans to really make sure that they meet any family's particular needs.
Exactly. Something for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, I'm excited to take a look at this beautiful unit. Do you want to just kind of start up here while we walk around?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the things also that we've been excited about, so you can see that we have this nice Thor Motor Coach raised logo. The Palazzo logos were actually painted on, and we wanted to do something that's a little bit higher end, more automotive. So as you can see, we've gone with this nice raised look now for this year, which I really think just kind of captures the overall vibe of the coach. Paint-wise, we only change graphics every couple of years, and so we actually have new graphics for this year. This happens to be the Harbor Town color, which is my particular favorite. It matches
like
our attire today.
No, this looks great.
We have Kapalua, which is where I got my second eagle of my life. All of them are named after golf courses, but it's a black and silver and white coloring, and so it's really nice. And then we have Erin Hills as another one, and then the final one is Cypress Point. So yeah, all your favorite golf courses, folks, you can come out and take a look. But yeah, no, I think they're really fresh. It's just a better graphic, I think. We always worry that we're never going to be able to do as good as that 2 years before, but I think we accomplished that feat. Maureen Wozniak, our interior designer, she actually works with me with the exterior designs too, so we spend a lot of time doing it.
You're a jack of all trades over there.
Well, it's fun. We try to make it interesting, and we want people to be excited about the way their motorhomes looks, because let's face it, you're investing a lot of money in this thing, and you want to be proud of it.
Absolutely. No, this is really, really nice.
Yeah, so as we work our way back, one of the things that you'll notice on the Palazzos is how much storage we have in them. And I mentioned before with the Palazzo, it being in a shorter length, but one of the reasons why we've never done shorter diesel motorhomes is because storage has been so limited. But as you can see with this coach, it only measures 34.5 feet long, yet it has this massive storage compartment in it. And one thing that we've found by our own research is customers that are looking at diesel pushers, they really spend a lot more time on the road. And so if they're spending more time on the road, they're bringing a lot more stuff with them. So we want to make sure that they're not having to sacrifice bringing the golf clubs, bringing bicycles or whatever it is that they need with them. And obviously with this coach, you're not having to sacrifice anything.
Yeah, no, this is nice. Tons of storage here. Really nice.
And so then as we continue to work our way back, another very exciting and a brand new feature for 2019 is the new TV setup. So there's a couple things, and I actually credit Donnie O'Banion for this idea, because it's something that we just hadn't done and we needed to figure out, but we actually can now bring the TV out and adjust it. Before, what happened is that it just basically stayed in its place, and one of the concerns that I had was depth, because this TV setup actually enters into the unit. And so we worked with Moride, who actually does all of our chassis outfitting, and they designed this new setup box where it actually didn't increase the depth of it, and yet we still have the ability to adjust it. And then the other beautiful feature is the soundbar. So before with the Palazzo, the exterior television had some auxiliary speakers, but they didn't really tie to anything but the television. This soundbar now has a Bluetooth on it. So let's say you don't even want to watch television, you can hook up Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, whatever it is that you like to do, and you can listen to music outside and chill.
Awesome, very cool. And you've got your big awning up there.
We do, and you can see there's some LED lighting in it, and it's a brand new awning. The arms are off the side of the coach. Again, we're really just trying to make this coach look clean, and with this design, it kind of keeps all that extra hardware out of the way.
No, this is beautiful. This is really, really nice.
Yeah, and aluminum wheels, we don't sacrifice it. When the Plaza originally came out, we only offered a stainless wheel liner, and Doug O'Banion, who's the founder of Motorhome Specialist, I think he beat on me for about 3 years before we ended up, going ahead and agreeing that it was time to put some aluminum wheels on, because not only is it a better looking unit, but it actually is going to travel better. And one of the reasons why people buy diesel motorhomes is because of the air ride, and it's such a much more high quality ride than what you're going to have in a gas coach, and this just enhances that even more.
Yeah. So we've got another bay here. So what's inside?
Inside this one is going to be what I like to refer to as the lifeblood of the coach. So this will be where your house batteries are. So these have to be in good condition for the motorhome to operate properly. And these are going to be 4 6-volt batteries. And then in addition to these 4 6-volt batteries, you also have 2 12-volt house batteries on board. One thing I like to point out about our battery bays, and this kind of is consistent with all of our brands, is there's lots of height above these 6-volt batteries. The 12 volts are maintenance free, so you don't have to worry about them, but with the 6 volts, they require distilled water. And so we like to have a lot of height so that it's very easy to get distilled water into the battery itself.
Because some of the other units out there, it is a much more compressed space. So that's really nice. Very nice. So random question for you.
Yes.
Let's say vacation's over and we want to store this thing for a month or so. Is there anything I need to know, or everyone at home needs to know, like anything in particular that we need to do to maintain this?
Sure. Well, it's a fantastic question. So there is something called parasitic drain that can occur. So even after you turn everything off, there's still stuff that cycles in the coach that could actually affect the battery life. So one of the nice things that we do is we put a chassis disconnect in. So you can shut that off, and then it literally shuts the whole system off. So it's very reliable. So the next time you get out and you want to go on the road, you just flip that on and
Make sure you
flip
turn
on
it
your
on.
house batteries and you're rolling.
Okay, that seems simple enough. No, very nice. And then in here, we've got
some more cool stuff.
Okay.
So first of all, you have an inverter. And so what the inverter is, for all you folks out there who don't know, is it's our ability to change direct current to alternating. So basically the outlets inside, the televisions, the microwave, all that stuff, you can actually operate the refrigerator. You can operate without having your generator running.
Okay.
So you just basically turn the inverter on, and it's going to allow you to do that. It converts all the power. And one of the nice things about this inverter is that we put what's called AGS on it, or auto generator start.
Okay.
So I know there's a lot of people out there that say, Adam, I like to boondock or dry camp. Basically get out there and not be plugged in at an RV campground.
Right.
So you cannot run the generator and basically not pay attention to how the battery voltage is. And if that battery voltage reaches 12, which is kind of that level that you don't want it to go below, the generator will kick on automatically by just setting it up on the inverter control panel inside. We can talk about that when we go back inside the coach.
Okay, awesome. So driving down the road, don't have to use the generator. Everything's operable inside.
No,
Very cool.
but then the other thing you need to know is you can run the generator rolling down the road. And one of the nice things I mentioned, this coach is set up where you can bring a lot of people along.
Right.
And so if you want to run the roof air conditioners and not just rely on dash AC, you're going to need your generator for that. And we put, two nice 13.5 B2 air conditioners on board. So it's definitely going to be able to keep the coach nice and cool.
Very cool. And what is this contraption over here?
Yeah, so one of the things that we like to be first to market with stuff, and we watch though because we want to make sure it's also economical. We don't want you to spend money that isn't justified. We put a solar panel standard on our coaches.
Cool.
We started doing that last year in 2018. It was very popular, so we were continuing. And I talked a little bit earlier about the battery life and trying to make sure we keep those house batteries good and healthy. Well, this will maintain a steady charge to the house battery. So when you're out there and you're not paying attention, your batteries are picking up that sunlight and converting it into energy, and basically the batteries are helping support the motorhome, and it lets the batteries last longer. And it was actually such a popular item that we've seen customers even add additional solar panels. So for 2019, as a new feature, we're building extra backer into the roof. So it makes it much easier to add a second and a third solar panel because this controller can handle up to 300 watts.
Oh wow, okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's add him. Right. I just love the paint scheme on this. It's really, really nice.
Thank you very much. So as you can see, we're here at the back of the coach, and obviously if it's a diesel pusher, that means that it's going to have a diesel motor in the very back. And so what we have on board this Freightliner chassis is a 300 horsepower ISB 6.7 liter Cummins motor with an Allison transmission, a 2100 series. So big deal, diesel versus gas, because a lot of people don't realize, with the packaging that we have on this coach, they're very similar in weight when you talk about like a 35-foot gas or a 35-foot diesel, but the difference being the torque. Horsepower really don't be that concerned about because it's the torque that's really going to move the weight. It's going to move you up the hills, and when you compare a gas with a diesel, you're talking about 457 pound-feet of torque for a V10 Ford chassis. And then the very minimum you're going to get with a Cummins is going to be 660 pound-feet of torque. So you're talking 44% more power actually. So it's funny, I talk to people all the time and they say, well, Adam, I'm retired. I'm not in any hurry anymore. I really don't need to worry about it. But you do, because if you think about it and you're going to travel across the country, you want to go see the grandkids, you want to make sure you have plenty of time with your family. 44% more time to be able to spend with them, because you're going to be able to move that much quicker. You're not going to be frustrated when you're driving up the hills. And that's just one of many differences that you have when you're talking gas versus diesel. I mentioned before the ride, this coach is on air. So literally this has four 12.5-inch diameter airbags that are active suspension. So what that basically means is when these axles are adjusting, it's going to actually tell an air reservoir, and it will send air to the airbag and help it adjust and actively tune the suspension to make it comfortable for you when you're driving down the road. The engine being in the back also is a benefit for the driver and the passenger, because let's face it, if the engine's in the back, you don't have a barrier there in between, and you don't have that noise level, so it's hard to communicate. You can be relaxed, you don't have vibration, it's just a very, very nice, smooth transition. The chassis, also I mentioned, it's a Freightliner. We only use the Freightliner brand in our products, and Freightliner is a very large company. I don't know if you know this or not, Ashley, but Freightliner is actually part of the Daimler Group, and Daimler is actually the largest trucking firm in the world. And in addition to being the largest trucking firm with a lot of technology, they also own Mercedes-Benz. So, automotive technology, they always are raising their game. They just developed a new axle technology called V-Ride, which actually emulates tag axle stability, so you don't have the wandering effect. Again, shorter coaches, shorter wheelbases, you worry about the coach being, kind of loose in between the lines. Not with ours, because with the V-Ride, it really keeps the coach together. They use Sachs shock absorbers, which Sachs, believe it or not, is a Rolls-Royce company. So they're tying in Rolls-Royce technology to make the coach ride great. The axles are rated heavier. So one of the things that I talked a little bit earlier is, when you're buying a diesel, you're going to use the coach more. Well, you want to have plenty of weight-bearing capacity on board. Well, this coach has 3,720 pounds of available weight on it with a quarter tank of fuel. So that's a lot of stuff you can bring along with you. I joke with people all the time that you can literally be a rock collector and you can own this unit, because you can put so much weight in. So with gas coaches, it can be like 1,000 pounds. So people say, well, maybe I'll just be careful. But the problem is if you're not paying attention and you overload the coach, not only are you overloading the axles, you're overloading the tires. And if you're running down the road at high velocity with your family members, the last thing you want to do is blow a tire. So, diesel motorhomes have all these great things, great attributes that make that RVing experience so much better.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm so glad you told me about that, because I'm smiling because my dad and I just had a conversation about all the differences between the two. So thank you for that. So I'm noticing here, Atlas Foundation.
Sure.
So can you tell me a little bit more about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So about 80% of the manufacturers that build diesel motorhomes buy from Freightliner because they're the best. And so one thing we do is we try to make them a little bit better. And I challenge anyone to go out and compare the difference, but we actually will take the Freightliner custom chassis that they designed specifically for us. That's why they call them a custom chassis, is that we give them the specifications, we tell them the wheelbase sizes that we need, and they develop something specific to Thor Motor Coach. But then we take that and then we build, well, we actually source to a company called Moride, our own mechanical specs, and we design a platform that basically rests upon the top of those frame rails from Freightliner. And that platform is this Atlas Foundation, and it's a specifically designed platform that basically acts kind of as a bridge to bring the house or conversion of the coach and allow it to blend in with the chassis, because we want it to be one harmonious thing. If it's one integral unit, it's going to perform better. And one thing that we do is we design every single Atlas Foundation specific to not only the length of the coach, the brand of the coach, but also the floor plan of the unit. So, when the weights are different and the refrigerator is one place and the slides are another place, we actually design all that in so that it's all shaped together and it's going to be the best it can possibly be. Another thing that we do is there's these trusses that are basically built across the frame rail, and we don't tie them directly to that frame rail. and we don't rest them right on top of the frame rail. And by doing so, the energy that's generated from driving down the road and from this engine doesn't get shared up into the coach, so it's a much quieter, smoother ride. And then the last thing that we do, Ashley, is, so these frame rails are about 34 inches apart. It's the spine of the coach, it's the backbone. We actually build a 2x3 inch box rail that runs directly beneath those frame rails, which ties everything together, so you don't get that twisting and sway that you would otherwise get in other brands. A lot of people just strap the bottoms to make sure that the belly of the coach doesn't sag. We actually build in structure into that to make sure that the overall build of the coach is much better.
Nice, very nice. All right, so you just got finished telling us a little bit about how the diesel engine is so much more powerful, the ride, and how much more luxurious that is because of the air ride suspension, and I guess even the Atlas foundation and how it's built and it's sturdy. With all of this combined, how does this relate back to safety for us and for users at home?
I think that's a great question. Okay. It relates to safety in a lot of ways. And one thing I didn't even mention too is that the braking system is so much better. And obviously safety and braking go hand in hand because we want to make sure we can stop this heavy thing. And again, diesel motorhome, a little heavier weight, we want to be able to stop the weight. So we actually put air brakes on board. So those of you that have never driven an air braking type system, it really makes a huge difference. You got to kind of be sensitive with them because they really do stop the unit. And then in addition, on any diesel product, there's also an auxiliary braking system. So we actually use what's called an exhaust brake on board. And so, or a variable geometry turbocharger if you want to get real technical. And what it does is it actually backs up the exhaust pressure and actually helps slow the coach down. So when you're going out west or you're going somewhere where you got long descends, you can flip that switch on, and anytime you take your foot off the accelerator pedal, it'll actually retard the engine and slow the coach down. So it really just keeps everything good. You don't want to heat those air brakes up. So again, it really makes for a huge difference. But honestly, probably the biggest safety advantage is going to be the fact that it's just so much easier to drive. So, when you want to go anywhere and you want to really use the thing, because that's what we all want, is we want to be able to use and get the value out of it. And aside from all that chassis stuff, you have other safety features on board. Like, take a look. You got your rear docking lights. You got a rear camera. We even put side cameras on board, so you know exactly where you're at. We keep in mind with the taillights when we lift them up, so that we make sure that it's above the tow vehicle, because a lot of people tow a car behind so you can drive around in the town that you're visiting. I didn't even mention it, but on the chassis too, we put a 10,000-pound hitch on board. With gas coaches, it's typically 5 or 7, but you really can only tow 3. With this coach, you're probably looking at closer to 7,000 pounds of available towing. So if you have a larger vehicle that you prefer to drive around in, so that you're safe, because you don't want to drive that little tow vehicle that you just don't feel comfortable in, you can do that in a diesel motorhome.
Very nice. I think overall, in addition to safety, but just the durability of this coach in comparison to some of the others. So diesel, it'll last a lot longer because of some of these things you've mentioned. It
will. So the Cummins engine, and the Allison transmission that are on board, if you take care of those, they'll last 500,000 to 1 million miles. A gas engine, just by nature, is a 100,000 mile type of scenario. So you're talking about 90% more time that you're going to be able to enjoy the unit. I've never yet encountered a 900,000 mile motor in an actual one, but with the fleet trucks that also use Cummins motors, that's a normal thing, and it actually helps with resale value and just the overall longevity of the coach. So it's just an awesome deal. Maintenance intervals are longer, so you don't have to go and get your oil changed as often. You don't have to deal with the brakes as often, because I think they're extended out to like 125,000 miles. So there's just so many things that are better when you look diesel.
I am so glad we touched on durability and safety. Those are two things that I don't think we really talk about much in this industry. Even, when you're buying a car, it's kind of the same. You would think it would be just as important when buying a recreational vehicle. So thanks for sharing.
You're absolutely right, and thank you. Well, it's funny you bring up not bringing up in conversation, because this is not only a car, but it's basically a house on wheels. And in residential, one of the things you talk about and think about is square footage. And we just so happen to have the most square footage of anybody. And we talked about Atlas before, and with our foundation and then the way that we construct our coaches, it enables us to do some different things with slide outs. And so, over the years it's evolved. When I first got in the business, it was a single slide and double slides and triple slides and quads. Well, guess what? Now we have full wall slides. So you can see this whole side of the motorhome is a full wall slide out. And so when this opens up, it really just creates so much space. And again, this is a compact unit. You know, oh, well, Adam, I don't think maybe 35 feet's enough, but it changes everything because, you know, this basically makes like a 35-foot unit or 34.5-foot unit a 40-foot unit almost, because we have such a long slide out on it. And we've added the 3-track system to the slides as well. So you'll notice that there's 2 tracks up above and then 1 track down below. And the way that this Schwintek system works, it keeps everything good and square. And then the seals are really good. It used to be back in the day that you'd have to worry about, you know, with rainstorms, which we had one last night here in Fort Worth, that the seals just couldn't keep the water. And now you can have the slide out closed, you can have it open, you have to worry about water entering. And it's just so much more reliable. So it's really just a fantastic thing, but just having more room is so great, right? And you know, other things you look at, you know, the paint, obviously we've talked about a few times, but one thing that we do that's different is we use a specific brand of paint, Ashley, and it's called Siphon's brand. And what's great about Siphon's is that it's a more elastic paint. The problem with the motorhome is it doesn't stay in one particular climate. It can be really cold, it can be really hot. And so what's nice about the Siphon's paint is that it has the ability to actually change its shape, because fiberglass, which is what this coach is constructed out of, will actually adjust and it'll expand and contract with those temperatures. So the paint will actually move with it, so it's not going to splinter and crack. So what you see today that you really like is going to look the same way 10 years from now.
Very nice.
And then, you know, incorporated with that aesthetics, we've gone with these nice clean flameless windows. And so by not having the frames, it's just a much more automotive look. They're dual pane, so again, if it's really hot outside, you know, you can keep that nice cool condition. Or let's face it, if you like to go into the cold weather, you can do the same. You can keep it good and toasty inside. And they're top hinged. One of the things that was a challenge with the frameless windows in the past is that there was really poor ventilation. Well, now with the hinges being on top, you can really open up that window and you get good airflow inside. So there's a lot of really nice advantages to it.
And when it's raining, speaking of rain, yeah, you can kind of
absolutely.
Pop it open.
You can keep them open. I'm from Oregon, and you know, we didn't ever have air conditioning growing up because we just opened the windows. Well, guess what? If you want to go to Oregon in this motorhome, it's set up for you. And then as we look, you know, a couple other neat things, the DEF tank being located on the driver's side. Not a lot of people think about this, but with a diesel, you need this diesel emissions fluid, and it's about approximately every 3,000 miles or so that you're going to have to fill this tank up. Well, what's so great now is that all the truck stops have DEF on a pump now, so you don't have to carry around those big 5 or whatever gallon jugs of it. So it's on the side where it is located on the truck, so you can pull right in the service station, fill it up while you're filling up the fuel tank, which by the way has a dual fuel on it. So there's a lot of nice, easy ways to travel across the country. And that's the diesel emissions tank.
Nice. Okay, and what's in this bay?
So this is really a primary point of interest for anyone. So this is what we like to refer to as the wet bay. So this is where your holding tanks are going to be located. This is where you do all that fun dumping of the tanks when you get ready to go to leave the park. You can see we also have a shower in here, so you know, cleaning off before you go inside. You know, sometimes people like to dump all their water before they leave. There's a quick dump on the fresh water system right in here. So the valving, it's easy to winterize. So everything is really nice and simple and easy to organize. You can flush your tank. So if you want to get all that, you know, the surfaces, you know, cleaned off, it's all right there and available for you.
Awesome. So another random question. I keep asking you random questions, but love skiing. My family and I go every year. How do we make sure that these pipes don't freeze? Is this my area of interest right here that I need to pay attention to?
It is. You know, so we manufacture in Wakarusa, Indiana. It's very cold there, and so what we've done over the course of time in the evolution of things is we build motorhomes to handle 4 seasons. And rather than just putting a small block heater down in the wet bay, we use the furnace in the living space and we plumb it down into the basement. So it actually has 2 advantages. Number one, there's more heat coming down because we use a larger system. And secondly, you don't have to worry about, hey, did my block heater come on when it got cold outside? Because if you get heat up in the living space, you're getting heat in the basement. So yeah, if you want to go skiing, you want to go travel to the north where you don't want to be most of the time, this coach is going to be conducive to that.
Awesome, worry-free, awesome, very cool, thank you. And then I'm guessing this was our pass-through storage from the other side. Okay.
Yep, so both sides,
Huge
we
space.
like to be able to have dual access there, and you just never know, what's going to be more convenient for you. Propane tank located right here. We talked earlier about the fuel. So another thing, there's just so many great advantages of a diesel. These Palazzos get upwards of 11 miles of the gallon towing. Now, to compare that with a gas coach, they get like 7 to 8. So, you're never going to buy a motorhome because of fuel economy. But when you talk about going from a 70-gallon tank, which is 75 gallons on a gas, to a 90-gallon fuel tank on a diesel, and you're getting upwards of 50% more fuel economy, that means a longer range of being able to drive. And then when you do have to fill up, we have dual fuel fill, so you can fill on either side of the unit. And Ashley had mentioned that we change our graphics every 2 years. Well, with the caps, we change them about every 3 to 4 years. So you'll notice here, we've actually redone the entire front cap of the Palazzo for 2019. And it's almost kind of a Transformer-esque type of look, very aggressive. You're definitely going to be paying attention to this coach as it's rolling down the road. We've incorporated this nice chrome stripping, which is very similar to what we do on our Tuscany. We're big into the branding aspect too. So as you can see, we've added this new THOR shield. It's a lighted shield, so it'll be chrome or it'll go bright. So when you're in the campground, when you're traveling, you let people know that you're coming. We've added some nice LED accent strips, and then not to mention the windshield. So again, yeah, exactly, huge, but safety again. A lot of people that are looking at Palazzo, it's really haven't driven a lot of Class A motorhomes before, and so we want to really make sure that you feel comfortable behind the wheel. We know the coach is going to ride great, but let's also add visibility. A lot of our competitors have a tendency to build those dashes way up or build that overhead way down, and so there's just a small crease that you can see in. With ours, you can see it's wide open. You got big side windows, huge front windshield, so when you're driving, you have a lot more comfort because you can see everything and you know what's going on. You can see down below and in front of you. Generators also up front. We balance everything out that way. Again, I talked about balance earlier in designing that Atlas foundation, but we also, with all the components that go within the unit, we want to make sure everything is balanced out. With the engine in the back, we put that 6.0 Onan quiet diesel generator in the front. So it really works well, and it's quiet. You don't even know it's there when you're running it. So lots of really neat things, very easily accessible. When this hood comes up, you'll also notice there's a steel firewall in the front. So you have a buffer in front of you. We insulate that, so if you're in cold weather, you're going to be shielded from the outside environment. So a lot of really nice things going on here.
Awesome. Well, I am really excited to see kind of what's on the inside of this thing. So a lot of changes on the outside here, and I just kind of want to see some new updates on the inside.
We have plenty in store for you.
Let's go. Wow, Adam, this is really, really pretty. Very, very spacious in here.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no. First and foremost, I think coloring-wise, Maureen Wozniak's our interior designer. She does a fantastic job. This is our new Arcadia decor, which I think is probably my favorite that we've ever had. And you can see she's got some nice accents. We do a lot of the synthetic leathers because it's a lot more durable. Obviously in an RV, you want to make sure that things are gonna last and stand the test of time. We put a lot of nice solid surface in here. This is a Corian, or I think it's actually an LG product, in fact. But stuff that's durable, that's going to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Cabinetry-wise, I think that this Milan cabinetry that we have in here really complements the interior.
It really does. It's really nice.
Yeah, and it's tough sometimes to find things that all work together so conveniently, but she's just, like I said, very talented, and we've been working together for a very long time.
No, she did an awesome job. And I noticed, so over here is solid surface countertop as well.
It is, and so with these dinettes, they're actually dual purpose. So in addition to be obviously for eating, and we put seat belts in them, so when you have children or even adults, you want to keep them safe, you can do so. Play cards while you're traveling down the road. One of the big things about a diesel is the fact that you can use the coach when the slides are closed. And we can't see this right now, but when we slide the big slide in and the rear slide in, you still have full egress. You can get to your kitchen, you can get to your bathroom, you get to the bed.
Yeah.
So you can really use the coach all the time. And this dinette, I mentioned dual purpose. In addition to the seating aspect, this will actually fold down or actually just slide down, and then there's a fill cushion that will go in, and for smaller people you can,
like myself, yes, no,
you can sleep.
No, this is great. This is really, really nice. And I know this is kind of random, but when we were walking in and the awning out there, it completely covers the door.
It does.
Which I like, because if it's raining or anything, I mean, there's constant like foot traffic and mud and water, and it can be slippery. So that's really, really nice.
Yeah,
I
so
like that as well.
Side doors are not real commonplace in the diesels, and that was one of the things when we originally designed the Palazzo, was we wanted to try to incorporate a side door, and it's obviously really great for that aspect, and being able to walk out and you don't have a muddy area, you're not tracking stuff in, you're walking out onto the patio of the unit.
This is really nice. So big TV there. You've got your sound bar.
You do?
As well, okay.
Yeah, and this soundbar is Bluetooth compatible. So again, just like the outside soundbar, if you just want to play music through your phone, most people anymore, they don't drag around DVDs or anything anymore. Everything's just running through the phones, and you can do that nice. Plus it projects a nicer sound for you with the television, and you get some nice big windows here, and you'll see in the kitchen we even added a window. The 33.2 up until 2019 didn't have one there, so we added that for 19. Another big change for 19 is the induction cooktop.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, this was the only brand in our diesel lineup that didn't have an induction, and it's a safety item too, because
for sure.
Unless you're magnetic, you're not going to feel the heat.
Right, and little ones in their hands and everything else.
Absolutely.
No, this is great. Awesome, and tons of storage. I mean, so many drawers and cabinets. Wow, that's really deep.
Yeah, it just goes on and on. They're full length drawer glides, so they'll come all the way out, and they're all ball bearing style, so very high quality. And you'll notice too that the way that the cabinets are anchored, all of our face frames are full maple hardwood, and so when it comes like the doors, for instance, and you open them, the hinges are all mounted into a hardwood. Almost all of our competition in this price segment, they use what's called MDF, which is basically like a press board, and they just wrap it in vinyl. And they try to make that vinyl match the door front, because that's typically the only thing that's going to be hardwood. If you look at our units, even your fascias, all of your veneers, it's all hardwood in the coach. And we use a company out of Napanee that is an Amish company, and so the Sawyers that are building these cabinets for us, they have sometimes 3 generations worth of experience, and so it shows in just the historical background that they have, that they're able to really just provide us with some really quality stuff. It's one of the things that makes our product special is how nice these cabinets are. And we have 3 different colors. This is the darkest, which is called Milan, and then we also have what I think was probably our most popular, is called Pacific. It's kind of in the middle. And then we have a brand new light cabinetry color that we debuted for 2018 called Newport, that we were really excited about. So we really have anything for anybody. It just depends on what you're looking for. So yeah, very, very good stuff. And also one thing that probably might be the single greatest improvement we've made in the Palazzo in many years is the furniture. So we'd had a lot of requests to look at potentially putting our Aria furniture in the Palazzo, but with a different styling. So we've actually gone to the Williamsburg furniture. So I don't know if you had a chance to sit down on the sofa or not, but it's unbelievably comfortable. And this is, again, something that's going to make into a sleeper. So if you have, bigger family, you can definitely use it and keep everybody squared away. We added a Eurocliner over here as well. It's kind of nice to have that extra chair.
Yeah, no, it really makes a difference. No, this is really nice. Tons of cabinetry up there. So again, tons of storage.
Crazy depth.
Oh, wow.
And you mentioned,
you don't see that as often.
Yeah,
no,
you mentioned how sometimes it's hard to reach up into the cabinets. You don't need my help to reach any of the higher level here. It's nice and low, and it's deep. One thing I always like to point out, because it's kind of hard to get a perspective, but you can see how large this cushion is, and it'll go right in the pillow, and it'll
awesome.
Close right away. So again, we have a lot of weight bearing capacity in our chassis, so why not take advantage of it and build these cabinets to where you're gonna have plenty of space.
Exactly.
never run into a motorhome where a customer's complained about having too much storage.
Never. The purpose is to get on the road for a long time. So this is awesome. This allows you to do it. No, this is really beautiful. The backsplash here.
Thank you.
Again, here's another one of those controls.
That's right.
And then what is this panel over here doing?
So this is going to be our multiplex panel. And so basically this controls all of the unit.
Now this is attached. Is there any, can I use it on my phone or anything? Or is
You
it
can.
like, okay.
Yeah, you absolutely can. So there's an app, and so you have the ability to connect. So you might be comfortable having a glass of wine on the sofa, and you don't want to get up, and you can do that because it'll function that way. And yeah, so it makes it really convenient for you.
Cool.
Or if you're in the bedroom, you know, and you don't have to come all the way up to the front of the coach, and you want to turn the lights off or dim them. These are all LED lights as well, by the way, so they're not going to be as hot, and they're going to last a lot longer. So you're not having to be changing a bunch of bulbs, and the energy efficiency too.
Very cool. So big fridge here.
Yep.
Tons of wardrobe space. And or I'm sorry, did you want to show us
something?
No,
I was going to say the microwave is also convection. You can see it's a nice large one, and we use Whirlpool brand. Same way with the refrigerator, and so you know we're trying to use higher end electronics and appliances to make sure that everything's going to work well. And I mentioned that these work on the inverter, so you don't necessarily have to have your 6 kilowatt generator running because all this stuff will run right off of the batteries if you want it to.
And Adam, I love that this comes with a residential refrigerator. Do all the models have the residential refrigerarer?
They do, and there's a couple really nice advantages. I mean, obviously the capacity is going to be larger because with Whirlpool and being in just about every residential home in America these days, we just know they're going to work, and so people are happy. And obviously, if you're out on the road, you want your refrigerator to work. Yes,
and it's a lot more convenient having that bigger fridge. So awesome. And right here, is this more storage or?
No, so believe it or not, you have a stackable washer dryer.
Okay.
Yep. So you can see it's a nice, again, Whirlpool unit, and compact, but it does the job. And as I mentioned, with the introduction of the 33.5, we'll have stackable washer dryers available even in a bunk. So that was something we didn't have in the past. And just to the right of it, probably as important as anything is pantry space. We hear from a lot of people that say, we just don't have enough places to put our dry goods, and just give that a tug, and you can see it comes out really nice and easy, and it's actually made by the same company that makes our cabinetry, so it's a nice finished piece of material, and something that we added. I think it was back in like 2017. So we've actually even had older Palazzo customers with 33.2s replacing their existing pantries with this new style. And there's one on the bottom as well as the top. So
tons of storage.
Again, when you're out on the road for extended periods of time, this is really going to do the trick.
Oh no, that's really nice. Tons of storage. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. And behind, so over here.
Yeah, and it's just a nice place where you can hang jackets, because again, one of the things that's really important to us is making sure that you have accessibility to things when you're traveling. And so how nice it is if you got to jump outside and you have a jacket you can just grab and go, and just another few places where you can tuck extra stuff. We really challenge the engineers all the time to figure out how to find every nook and cranny.
Don't waste space. Yeah.
Never, because in an RV, it's always going to be, you're always going to be stretched in terms of what you have available to you. So we just want to be the best at that.
Yeah, no, this is great. And then this big door, I'm guessing bathroom maybe.
Yeah, and you'll notice that it's hinged on the right side. So again, when this slide comes in, we want to make it easy to get in and out. And so this will actually come all the way around and open. And we'll have to thank our customers because a few years ago they complained about the sink size. So you can see it's a very large sink.
Yes.
And this being the only bathroom sink you have in this particular floor plan, it's critical that it's going to be enough for you.
And that's really nice. So you've got the trifold door there. Oh no, this is really nice. Yeah. Very big. Spacious. Tons of storage.
Yeah, and then one last little thing, Ashley, I want to point out too is you'll notice that there's actually an AC dump in the actual bathroom itself.
Okay.
And then down below here, you'll see there's a furnace exhaust. So you can heat it, you can cool it. we have companies, believe it or not, that will actually leave a space above the door just so that there'll be some heat or cool air coming in, but that really doesn't do the trick at all, right?
Both. You have cooling and heating, so that's amazing.
So every floor plan, we make sure that that's something that we put in as a requirement, because obviously this needs to be an area of the coach that you're comfortable in as well.
Exactly, especially getting out of that shower and you're in the middle of a snowy area.
That's right.
This is really nice. Very nice. So we did that, and then huge bedroom back here. Oh, nice. Yeah, this is really nice.
Very
lot
roomy,
of room.
right?
Yes, it is.
It's hard to believe it's such a short coach. And so
oh, wow.
Obviously the big things, a huge wardrobe, and you can
Very
look,
big.
I mean, literally I can almost get all the way in this thing, and you got your hang rod and adjustable shelving. One thing I had failed to mention earlier, but you'll notice with the adjustable shelving, we've gone to metal tracks now. We used to use the plastic tabs, and they just, the shelves would fall down in transit, and so this is a much more sturdy arrangement, and that's something we did across the board.
Nice. No, that's a big wardrobe space.
Yeah, and then
really
with
nice.
With this queen bed style, you have plenty of room to get around either side. One thing that we find in a lot of our competition is that when they put the beds in, the only way to get on and off is from the foot of the bed.
Okay.
So with this, you can get around to the side. It allows you a big nightstand. So if you have sleep apnea, you can put a CPAP machine here. You get a nice drawer.
Very
Again,
nice.
full extension. And then even the overheads on this side, it's another shirt closet. So again, with wardrobes, we're just really trying to maximize the amount of storage. And then, if you travel in the winter or in the summer and you want to put your sweaters or your blankets, you got this huge area here, whatever you want to do.
And that's really easy to put that up and down.
Yeah.
This is great. Tons of storage up above and right here. And then, am I reading this correctly? Wi-Fi throughout?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we're the first company in the industry to offer standard Wi-Fi, and in addition to the Wi-Fi
very cool.
system, it also does your HD TV antenna. So
Okay.
So there's a lot of really good over-the-air stations that you can check out. And what's neat about this new 2.0 Winegard system is that you don't necessarily have to use their service contract anymore. You can actually replace the SIM card up top. And so if you use Verizon or AT&T, whatever, you can use your own service provider and provide you with Wi-Fi on the road.
Oh, that's very convenient.
Pretty neat.
Very cool. Yes, really nice. So Denver mattress.
Yeah, so really comfortable. We don't want you to have to sacrifice your ability to get a good night's sleep when you're traveling, and we use Denver across the board, and they do a great job.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Adam. Tons of space in here. I appreciate it. I know there's one more place on the bus that we haven't looked at, and that's the front. So can you take us up there?
I'm excited. Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Well, Adam, you were not kidding about this leather. This is super comfortable.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah, this is really, really nice. So overhead here, what is this drop-down bunk?
Yeah, so we were actually the first diesel motorhome to offer a drop-down bed in the front, and so this whole thing will come down. It'll handle 500 pounds, and what's really great about having a bed like this is that the rest of your living room isn't affected. You can get up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, sit on the sofa, watch TV, and if there's somebody still up here, it just kind of keeps it out of the way.
It does. Yeah, the spacing in here is really, really nice. And you weren't kidding about the height here. So the window and just visibility in general is huge.
We really do design our dashes to try to just make it as comfortable as possible, and we want to make it to where anybody can drive one of these things. There's an intimidation factor without really knowing what it's like to drive a diesel, and quite honestly, probably the easiest reference I can give is it's kind of like riding a bike. I mean, once you get behind the wheel and you try it, it's amazing. And you don't need a commercial driver's license. There's a common misnomer out there that you need to be like this professional driver to do it. But with the age group of our most common customers, we need to make these as easy as possible to drive. And with that air ride and those custom tuned shock absorbers and all the mechanical engineering that goes into the design of the coach, it's so equally balanced, and it just literally just floats on air down the road. You wouldn't believe how easy it is.
Awesome. No, this is really cool. You say anyone, so hopefully I can get behind the wheel soon, but this is really, really nice.
I think you definitely should.
So you've got a huge screen here.
We do. So
Okay.
again, it's all about just really just kind of knowing your surroundings, because I think the first time you drive a Class A, that's one of the intimidating factors, just kind of, it's a little bit larger than what you're used to. But, with these big screens, and I'm a big proponent of as much visibility as possible. It's same with the windshield, when it comes to your backup camera, or when you even flip your turn signal, it automatically will show the side of the coach that you're going into lane-wise. And so there really isn't any blind spots either. So that's great. And then also this is your GPS as well. So, we want to make sure that, you're going the right direction and not having to turn it around. But, another thing, and I didn't even mention this, it just keeps coming up. Another big advantage of diesel is that the wheels actually turn further. So we call it a cramp angle, but the tires turn 55 degrees, where in a gas coach is traditionally 48 to 50. So you actually have the ability to really spin it around. So if you did take a wrong turn for some reason, you really have the ability to do what you need to do to get out of that type of situation.
Maneuver it a little easier. No,
of course.
This is really nice. Even more storage up here in the front.
Yeah, so I kind of like that idea, because in addition to the storage, it really gives you the feeling of just kind of tying it all together. And believe it or not, every single diesel pusher that we build, we have a standard overhead bed, even in the front entry coaches. Wow. So and there's always going to be cabinets no matter what.
Okay. And once that bunk drops down, then they can use that upstairs as well in the bunk, right? Okay.
Yeah, well, so the cabinets are actually attached to the bed mechanism in this particular one, and then in the other ones it stays fixed.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
So we'll be able to show you that later, but with some of the other ones.
Okay, awesome. Huge window. Anything else over here that you want to tell us about at home?
Well, I was just in a rental car the other day, and you don't have USBs, but you can see there's just a ton of USBs. There's 4 just on the driver's side here, and then there's even 12 volt if you need it. You got your generator start up front here. You have a nightshade they'll go up and down, so that really makes for a nice situation. Dome lighting, and then you come over to the other side, and I mentioned your exhaust brake switch, but being able to retard the engine, you can do that very easily. And actually what's great too is that these seats are 6-way adjustable, so you can get the height right. You can also adjust the tilt and the telescope, so you know how fast you're going, you know how much fuel you have, there's a integrated light bar here as well, so it's got a lot of the trip functions like you would with your regular car, so you can kind of keep track of everything that's going on. And you slide over to the other side. I mentioned air braking, but you keep track of your PSI level to make sure everything's functioning properly. There's an exhaust brake switch, and so you just flip that on, and you take your foot off the accelerator pedal, and it literally just will pull the coach back. It's great for when you're getting off exits, or again, like I mentioned, if you ever want to do any mountain traveling, really is going to keep you well contained. There's an auxiliary start switch, which was fantastic, because if for some reason you're not paying attention, you can actually start the coach by sharing battery power between your house and your chassis batteries. Docking lights, as I've mentioned before, that really help for people like myself that are procrastinators and end up at the campground in the middle of the night like we've done the last 2 years. And then sliding over to the other side, something that really makes a huge difference is having your Allison 6-speed transmission readily available, because you can downgrade your gears as you're traveling, and you can actually see what gear you're actually in. Everything is right there and easy to reach. Mirrors, and they even have heat on them. And then sliding over here to the other side, we have a 4-point hydraulic leveling system, and one thing that's unique about our system is that it's a dual action system. What that means is that the jacks actually power down and up hydraulically. It used to be back in the day that, and there's still some that use them that are spring loaded, so they come down hydraulically, but then you rely on this spring to bring them back up. Well, guess what the first thing is to break on leveling systems? And when it comes to slide outs, jacks, and anything to do with water and keeping it out, we just want to make sure there's no problems in those areas, or really anything. And so obviously if you have a jack that's stuck in the down position, that keeps you from going where you want to go. So we invest some money in a really nice Lippert system that really makes a difference. And then before I forget, there's also a way that you can lower the suspension and dump the airbags by this simple switch right here. So if you just want to make it easier to get in the unit, you can do that. If you have a place where you're trying to get under, you know, an entry to, like, say, a garage or whatnot, this coach has a lower profile. It's only 12 foot high, so to the top of the air conditioners. Traditional motorhomes, for the most part, are like 12.7. So, you know, there are those times where you need to find a little bit lower ground. So, yeah, it definitely does the trick.
Oh, this is really nice, Adam. So thank you so much for going through all of this with us. I guess I did see a shield of protection sign somewhere. What was that?
So you'll see up above here that we have the THOR shield of protection. So that just ties into our customer service plan. As important as all the features and functions and the livability aspects of the coach is also, you know, just being there for our customers. So there's a few things that we do that are sort of unique in this business. The first and foremost is the fact that we're available 24 hours a day. We actually have our own employees that are available that have offices at home, and there's only a small period of time, I think it's like 11 p.m. to like 8 a.m. in the morning, where we don't have a THOR employee manning a computer and a phone to take care of customers. Most of our competition will actually source all of that after hours protection to an outside vendor that has no authority to authorize warranty. They have no experience with our products, and essentially all they're there to do is help you assist with towing,
right.
Which, you know, that's not going to help if you need to troubleshoot a problem or whatnot. And so we have that available. We have a one source program also with warranty, which means that, you know, there's a lot of parts and pieces that come from other vendors in this unit. And rather than telling a customer that is only buying one coach, hey, you need to call such and such to have an issue resolved, we actually source everything through us, because obviously we buy a lot more parts and pieces than one single customer would, to help through the process to make sure that people are getting looked after. We also have a concierge service, so, you know, we're going to reach out to you after your purchase to make sure you're familiar with everything, the delivery went well, if you have questions. And then we also have a rapid response part system where we keep a certain inventory of parts available so that, you know, the most common things that were to go wrong, we're available to help you with. So there's just a lot that's there, and ultimately what our job is to do is to make the RV ownership experience the best it can possibly be. And we're trying to continue every day to do a better job for our customers.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And again, thank you so much for being here. Like, this was an amazing walkthrough on the Palazzo, and I guess there's really a floor plan for anybody. So tons out there. Thank you again for being here, and I know we're going to see you in some upcoming videos as well. So we'll definitely tune in and take a look at some of those. Guys, if you have any more questions for us, you can visit us online at mhsrv.com. You can also give us a call or come by and see us in Alvarado, Texas, Motorhome Specialist. Thank you, guys.
If you would like to see sales prices from the only full-line and fully authorized THOR Motor Coach dealership in the world, visit Motorhome Specialist at mhsrv.com or call 800-335-6054. Motorhome Specialist is the #1 volume-selling motorhome dealership in the world, with over $165 million in inventory to choose from, all at one central location, making it easy to fly in from anywhere in the country and then drive your new dream motor coach home. All sale priced at a minimum of 25% off the manufacturer's suggested retail price every day. You will also enjoy the premier delivery process that can only be found at MHSRV. From the extensive pre-check and make-ready process to the only dealership performed and fully automated rain booth test in the industry, you'll see a world of difference at Motorhome Specialist. These additional detail and inspection processes are just a few of the countless steps taken here at Motorhome Specialist to help ensure that you not only receive a better selection and price, but also the unparalleled quality and service that you deserve to go along with it. So get busy living in an all-new THOR Motor Coach from Motorhome Specialist today. Why pay more? Why settle for less?